There is something fascinating about certain older men. You meet them, and within minutes, you feel it. They don't speak loudly. They don't try to impress anyone. They don't chase attention. Yet somehow, the entire room respects them. Have you ever noticed this? Two men can be the same age, both 60, 65, even 70. But one seems bitter, complaining about the world, stuck in the past, while the other feels different. Calm, observant, sharp. His words are few, but when he speaks, people listen, because his mind is still powerful. Because age did not make him rigid. It made him intelligent. Real intelligence does not come from degrees. It comes from years of observing life, understanding people, learning from mistakes, and refining your thinking. And the truth is, many men grow older, but very few grow wiser. Very few develop the quiet intelligence that comes from reflection, emotional control, and deep understanding of life. You might not even realize it. But if you have certain habits, certain ways of thinking, certain behaviors, you may already be one of those rare men. The kind of man younger people respect. The kind of man people seek advice from. The kind of man whose presence alone commands attention. So in this video, we are going to explore the powerful signs that you are not just an older man, but an intelligent one. And some of these signs might surprise you. But before we begin, if you enjoy deep psychological insights about life, human nature, wisdom, and personal growth, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because this channel is dedicated to helping you understand life on a deeper level. Now let's begin. 1. You listen more than you speak. One of the most powerful signs of an intelligent older man is something most people completely underestimate. You listen. Not the kind of listening where someone is just waiting for their turn to speak. Not the kind where someone is mentally preparing their next argument, but real listening. The kind where you quietly observe people and allow them to reveal who they truly are. When you were younger, things were probably different. Like most men, you may have felt the need to prove yourself, to show people how much you knew, to defend your opinions, to win arguments. You talked more. You debated more. You tried to establish your presence through words. Because when we are young, we believe intelligence is about how much we can say. But as the years pass, something shifts. Life teaches you something most people never understand. The loudest person in the room is rarely the wisest. So instead of talking constantly, you begin to observe. You watch people carefully. You notice the small things that others miss. You notice how someone's voice slightly trembles when they are lying. You notice when someone laughs too loudly at something that isn't funny. You notice when someone gives compliments, but their eyes carry jealousy. Most people are too busy speaking to see these things, but you see them because you are watching. And here is the strange truth about human nature. When people feel heard, they talk more. They reveal more. They relax their guard. Think about how often this happens in real life. You sit quietly while someone else keeps talking. At first, they share normal things, but the longer they talk, the more they begin to expose their true thoughts, their fears, their frustrations, their hidden intentions. And all you did was listen. This is why intelligent men rarely rush to fill silence. Silence is powerful. Silence makes people uncomfortable. And when people feel uncomfortable, they start revealing things they never planned to say. This is why great negotiators, psychologists, and wise leaders use silence as a tool. They ask one question, and then they wait. And while others are talking endlessly trying to impress people, you are gathering information. You are understanding personalities. You are reading emotions. You are learning the true nature of the person in front of you. And this gives you something incredibly valuable: clarity. Because once you truly understand people, you rarely get manipulated by them. You see arrogance hiding behind fake confidence. You see insecurity hiding behind loud behavior. You see kindness hiding behind quiet personalities. And suddenly, the world becomes much easier to navigate. This is why intelligent older men often appear calm and composed. Not because they know everything, but because they observe before they react. They understand before they judge. and they speak only when their words actually matter. Think about the wisest person you have ever met. Chances are, they weren't the loudest person in the room. They were the one who listened quietly, the one who spoke slowly and carefully, the one whose words carried weight because they were never wasted. And this is the truth most people never realize. Talking constantly might make you feel important, but listening deeply makes you powerful, because the person who speaks the most reveals themselves. But the person who listens the most understands everyone. And understanding people is one of the greatest forms of intelligence a man can possess. 2. You no longer try to impress anyone. One of the clearest signs of an intelligent older man is this quiet transformation. You no longer feel the need to impress anyone. When you were younger, life often felt like a stage. You wanted people to notice you. You wanted approval. You wanted others to believe you were successful, capable, important. Maybe you worked harder than everyone else just to prove your worth. Maybe you tried to look stronger than you felt. Maybe you spoke about your achievements hoping people would respect you. Because in youth, many men believe respect comes from being seen. So they chase attention. They buy things to look successful. They argue to prove they are right. They try to appear confident even when they are unsure inside. But something changes as the years pass. Life teaches you lessons that no book ever could. You realize something simple, yet incredibly powerful. Most people are too busy trying to impress others to truly notice anyone. Think about it. In a room full of people, almost everyone is focused on themselves. How they look, what others think of them, whether they appear smart or successful. Very few people are actually paying attention. And once you understand this, the need to perform slowly fades away. You stop chasing approval. You stop explaining your worth. You stop trying to convince people who you are, because deep inside, you have already accepted something most people struggle with their entire lives. Your value does not depend on other people's opinions. So you become quieter, not weaker, just calmer. You don't feel the need to tell everyone about your experiences. You don't feel the urge to prove you are knowledgeable. You don't feel offended if someone underestimates you, because you understand something powerful. Those who truly know their value rarely feel the need to advertise it. And, ironically, this is where something fascinating happens. The moment you stop trying to impress people, people start noticing you more. They see a man who is comfortable in his own skin, a man who is not desperate for approval, a man who speaks only when he has something meaningful to say. That kind of presence is rare. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, the person who is completely comfortable not performing becomes magnetic. Think about the most confident man you have ever met. He probably didn't talk endlessly about his achievements. He probably didn't brag about his success. He didn't need to. His calm presence said everything, because real confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It simply exists. And intelligent older men understand this deeply. You know that respect built on performance is temporary, but respect built on character and authenticity lasts a lifetime. So you focus on living honestly rather than impressively. You focus on being real rather than impressive. And that quiet authenticity becomes your greatest strength. Because when a man stops chasing validation, he becomes something incredibly powerful. He becomes free. Free from the pressure of other people's opinions. Free from the exhausting need to prove himself. Free to live life on his own terms. And that kind of freedom creates a presence that people can feel immediately. Not loud, not dramatic, but deeply grounded. And sometimes, the most impressive man in the room is the one who is not trying to impress anyone at all. 3. You understand that most arguments are useless. One of the clearest signs that a man has grown not just older, but truly intelligent, is the way he deals with arguments. When you were younger, arguments probably felt important. Someone challenged your opinion, and you felt the urge to respond immediately. You wanted to prove your point. You wanted to show that you were right. You wanted the other person to admit they were wrong. Maybe it happened during political debates with friends. Maybe during family disagreements. Maybe even in small situations, a misunderstanding, a comment, a different perspective. At that stage of life, winning arguments felt like winning respect. But as the years passed, life quietly taught you something that many people never realize. Most arguments change nothing. Think about it honestly. How many arguments have you witnessed in your lifetime? People arguing about politics, yet neither side changes their opinion. People arguing about religion, yet both leave the conversation exactly the same. People arguing about small personal issues, and instead of solving the problem, they only damage the relationship. The truth is, most arguments are not about truth. They are about ego. Each person wants to protect their pride. Each person wants to feel intellectually superior. And once you understand this, something inside you shifts. You stop wasting your energy. You stop reacting to every disagreement. You stop feeling the need to correct every opinion that sounds wrong to you, because you realize something very important. Not every battle deserves your energy. Imagine two men in a heated debate. Their voices rise. Their faces tighten. Their emotions take control. For them, the argument becomes personal. But the intelligent older man sitting nearby sees something else entirely. He sees two egos fighting. He sees two people who are no longer trying to understand each other. They are simply trying to win, and winning rarely leads to wisdom. So instead of jumping into every debate, you pause. You listen. You observe, and sometimes you simply let it go. You let someone keep their opinion. You let someone think they are right. You let a conversation end without forcing a conclusion. Not because you lack the ability to argue, but because you understand something deeper. Peace of mind is far more valuable than proving a point. Arguing endlessly drains emotional energy. It fills the mind with frustration. It creates tension where there could have been calm. Intelligent men understand that life is already full of real challenges. Health struggles, family responsibilities, financial pressures, the passing of time itself. So, why waste precious mental energy fighting unnecessary battles? This is why truly wise older men become very selective with their conflicts. They ask themselves a simple question: will this argument improve my life or only satisfy my ego? If the answer is ego, they walk away, because maturity teaches something powerful. Being right does not always make life better. Sometimes the wisest response is silence. Sometimes the strongest move is walking away. And sometimes the greatest form of intelligence is recognizing when a conversation is not worth your peace. In a world where everyone is trying to win arguments, the intelligent man is the one who understands which arguments are not worth having at all. 4. You read people quickly. One of the most powerful abilities an intelligent older man develops over time is something that cannot be taught in a classroom. You learn to read people, not through what they say, but through what they reveal without realizing it. When you were younger, you probably believed words more easily. If someone complimented you, you assumed they meant it. If someone smiled, you believed they were friendly. If someone spoke confidently, you assumed they were trustworthy. Because when we are young, we tend to judge people by their words. But life slowly changes that perspective. Years of experience show you something deeper about human nature. People often say one thing while feeling something completely different. And after decades of observing people, friends, co-workers, strangers, even family, your mind begins to notice patterns. Very small patterns. The kind most people overlook. For example, you notice the difference between a genuine smile and a forced one. A real smile reaches the eyes, but a fake smile stays on the lips. You notice when someone congratulates you, but their tone carries a subtle tension. Their words sound supportive, yet something inside tells you they are uncomfortable with your success. You notice when someone laughs at your joke, but quickly looks around to see how others react, as if their reaction depends on the crowd. These tiny details might seem insignificant, but over the years, they begin forming a silent language, a language of human behavior. And intelligent older men become fluent in it. You notice how someone treats a waiter at a restaurant. You notice how someone talks about people who are not present. You notice whether someone takes responsibility for their mistakes or immediately blames others. These moments reveal more about a person's character than any speech ever could. And because you have seen these patterns repeatedly throughout your life, your mind starts recognizing them almost instantly. Sometimes, within minutes of meeting someone, you can sense arrogance hiding behind politeness. You can feel insecurity behind someone's loud confidence. You can detect kindness in the quiet person, who says very little but treats everyone with respect. And often, you don't even know exactly how you know. You just feel it. That feeling is not magic. It is experience. Decades of watching people reveal their true selves in subtle ways. Think about how many personalities you have encountered throughout your life. The friend who betrayed trust, the coworker who pretended to be supportive but secretly competed, the stranger who turned out to be kinder than anyone expected. Each experience taught you something. Each interaction sharpened your awareness. And slowly, without realizing it, you developed an instinct, a quiet inner radar that helps you sense who someone really is. This ability is incredibly powerful because the better you understand people, the less likely you are to be manipulated by them. You recognize insincerity earlier. You notice warning signs sooner, and you choose your relationships more carefully. Many younger people struggle with this. They trust too quickly. They believe words too easily. They ignore subtle warning signals. But intelligent older men understand something fundamental about human nature. People always reveal who they are if you watch closely enough. Their habits reveal them. Their reactions reveal them. Their behavior when no one is watching reveals them. And when you develop the patience to observe these details, the world becomes much clearer. Because instead of judging people by what they say, you learn to understand them by who they consistently show themselves to be. And that quiet ability, the ability to read human nature, is one of the deepest forms of intelligence a man can possess. 5. You are comfortable with silence. One of the quiet but powerful signs of an intelligent older man is something that many people find surprisingly difficult. You are comfortable with silence. In today's world, silence almost feels strange to people. The moment a conversation pauses, someone rushes to fill the gap. They start talking again. They explain something unnecessary. They complain about something random, anything just to avoid that uncomfortable quiet moment. Because for many people, silence feels awkward. It makes them feel exposed. It forces them to sit with their own thoughts, and that is something most people try to escape. But intelligent older men experience silence very differently. For you, silence is not uncomfortable. In fact, it feels natural. You can sit in a room with someone without constantly speaking. You can walk quietly without feeling the need to comment on everything around you. You can share space with another person without filling every second with words. And this calm comfort with silence reveals something powerful about your mind. It means you are not dependent on constant noise to feel secure. Your mind is stable enough to sit quietly with itself. Think about how rare that is today. Most people wake up and immediately reach for their phones. Music plays in the background. Television fills the room. Social media floods the mind with endless voices and opinions. The moment silence appears, people rush to eliminate it because silence forces reflection, and reflection can be uncomfortable. It forces you to think about your life, your choices, your regrets, your future. But intelligent older men understand something important. Reflection is where wisdom grows. Silence creates space for thought. It allows your mind to process years of experiences. Memories start to surface. Lessons begin to connect. You suddenly understand situations from your past in ways you never did before. Perhaps you remember a mistake you made decades ago, and now with the clarity of age, you finally understand why it happened. Perhaps you realize how certain struggles shaped your character. Perhaps you see patterns in life that younger people are too distracted to notice. These insights rarely appear in noisy environments. They appear in stillness, in quiet moments when the mind is free from distraction. This is why many of the wisest thinkers in history valued solitude and silence, because silence sharpens awareness. It strengthens emotional control. It allows the mind to settle instead of constantly reacting. And there is another powerful effect of silence. When a man is comfortable with silence, his words become more meaningful. Think about someone who talks endlessly. Their words start to lose weight. People stop listening carefully. But when someone speaks only when necessary, every sentence carries importance. People naturally pay attention because silence gives your words value. This is why intelligent older men often speak slowly and thoughtfully. They are not rushing to fill the air with sound. They choose their words carefully. They pause. They reflect. And when they do speak, people listen because those words come from a mind that has spent years observing, thinking, and understanding life. In a world that is constantly noisy, constantly rushing, constantly demanding attention, the man who can sit peacefully in silence possesses something rare: a calm mind, a reflective mind, a mind that does not need constant distraction to feel alive. And sometimes the deepest intelligence is not revealed through endless talking, but through the quiet strength of a man who is perfectly at peace with silence. 6. You learn from your past instead of resenting it. One of the deepest signs of an intelligent older man is how he looks at his past. Because as the years pass, everyone collects memories. Some are beautiful, moments of success, love, friendship, and achievement. But many are painful, mistakes you wish you never made, decisions that led to regret, trust placed in the wrong people, opportunities that slipped through your fingers. Life gives everyone these moments. But what separates an intelligent man from a bitter one is how he carries those memories. Many people grow older, but not wiser. Instead of learning from their past, they become trapped in it. They replay the same regrets over and over again in their minds. They think about what they should have said, what they should have done, how life could have turned out differently. And slowly, that constant replay turns into resentment. Resentment toward people, resentment toward circumstances, sometimes even resentment toward themselves. You can see it in their conversations. They constantly talk about old wounds, old betrayals, old failures. Their past becomes a heavy weight they carry everywhere. But intelligent older men treat the past very differently. Instead of resenting it, you study it. You look at your life almost like a teacher reviewing lessons. You ask yourself difficult questions. What exactly went wrong in that situation? Was there something I failed to notice? What did that experience reveal about people or about myself? These questions transform painful memories into valuable insight. Because every mistake contains a lesson. Every disappointment carries information. Every failure reveals something about the way life works. Think about the experiences you have lived through. Maybe there was a time you trusted someone who later betrayed you. At first, the pain may have felt overwhelming. You may have felt anger, confusion, even humiliation. But years later, when you look back with calm reflection, something different appears. You begin to see the warning signs that you once ignored, the small behaviors that revealed their true character, the moments where your instincts quietly told you something wasn't right. And suddenly, that painful memory transforms into awareness. Now you recognize those signs in others. Now you protect yourself better. Now you understand human nature more clearly. The same is true for personal mistakes. Perhaps there were decisions you regret deeply. A career path that didn't work out, a risk you were too afraid to take, or maybe a choice you made in anger or impatience. At the time, those moments may have felt like failures. But intelligent men eventually realize something powerful. Failure is one of life's greatest teachers. It forces you to confront reality. It forces you to grow. It forces you to understand yourself more honestly. And when you reflect on those experiences instead of denying them, they shape your wisdom. You become more patient, more careful, more aware of the consequences of certain decisions. Over time, these lessons quietly reshape the way you approach life. You become less impulsive, less naive, more thoughtful in the way you handle relationships, opportunities, and challenges. This is why intelligent older men rarely carry bitterness. Not because their past was easy, but because they have transformed their past into knowledge. Instead of carrying regret, they carry understanding. Instead of replaying pain, they extract lessons, and those lessons become part of their character. They guide future decisions. They sharpen intuition, they deepen emotional maturity. In the end, the difference between aging and becoming truly intelligent is simple. One person carries the past as a burden, the other carries it as wisdom, and that wisdom becomes the quiet strength that shapes the rest of their life. 7. You value peace more than ego. One of the most powerful transformations that happens in an intelligent man's life is the moment he begins to value peace more than ego. When we are young, ego often controls our decisions. We want recognition. We want to be respected. We want people to acknowledge our abilities and our opinions. If someone challenges us, we feel the urge to respond immediately. If someone disrespects us, we want to prove them wrong. If someone doubts us, we feel the need to show them what we are capable of. In youth, the mind believes that defending ego is a form of strength, so men fight unnecessary battles, arguments with friends, conflicts with coworkers, endless debates about who is right and who is wrong. At the time, these battles feel important, but as the years pass, life slowly reveals something deeper. Most of these conflicts were never truly necessary. They were simply reactions of the ego. Think about how many situations in life escalate because of pride. Two people say things they don't really mean. Neither wants to step back. Neither wants to appear weak. So the argument grows, and the relationship slowly breaks. But intelligent older men eventually realize something powerful. Ego is expensive. It costs energy. It costs peace. Sometimes it even costs relationships that could have been meaningful. And once you understand this, your priorities begin to change. You no longer feel the need to respond to every challenge. You no longer feel the urge to prove yourself to everyone. You no longer waste your emotional energy trying to win small battles. Instead, you start choosing something far more valuable: calm, peace, stability. Imagine two men in a tense situation. One reacts immediately. His voice rises. His anger grows. His ego demands that he defend himself at all costs. But the other man pauses. He breathes. He understands that reacting emotionally will only create more chaos. So he chooses a different path. He stays calm. He listens. And sometimes, he simply walks away. To many people, this kind of response might look like weakness. But in reality, it requires far more strength. Because controlling your ego is much harder than expressing it. It takes emotional maturity to stay calm when others are angry. It takes intelligence to recognize when a conflict will lead nowhere. And it takes wisdom to understand that protecting your inner peace is more important than winning every argument. This mindset changes the way you move through life. You become less reactive, less defensive, more thoughtful about where you place your attention and energy. You begin to ask yourself simple but powerful questions. Is this situation worth disturbing my peace? Will this conflict improve anything, or just satisfy my pride? Most of the time, the answer becomes clear. And so you choose calm. You choose understanding. You choose emotional balance instead of unnecessary drama. Over time, this mindset creates a very different kind of presence. People notice your composure. They notice that you do not get easily pulled into chaos. They see that you remain steady even when others lose control. And that calm stability commands respect in a way loud ego never can. Because true strength is not found in constant confrontation. It is found in the ability to remain centered no matter what happens around you. In the end, intelligent older men understand something that younger minds often struggle to accept. Life is not a competition of egos. It is a journey of inner growth. And the man who protects his peace, who chooses calm over chaos, who values emotional stability over temporary victories, is often the wisest man in the room. 8. Younger people naturally respect you. One of the clearest and most beautiful signs that you have become an intelligent older man is something that cannot be forced. Younger people naturally respect you. You don't demand it. You don't raise your voice to establish authority. You don't constantly remind people about your age, your experience, or everything you have accomplished in life. Yet, somehow, when you speak, people listen. When you give advice, younger people take it seriously. And when they face problems in their lives, they often come to you for guidance. This kind of respect is very different from the kind that comes from power or position. Some people receive respect because they hold a title. A boss is respected because he controls salaries. A teacher is respected because they hold authority in a classroom. But that kind of respect can disappear the moment the position disappears. True respect is different. True respect comes from presence. It comes from the way a person carries themselves. And intelligent older men develop a presence that younger people instinctively recognize. Think about it. When younger people talk to someone who has lived through decades of real experiences, something inside them becomes curious. They sense that the person in front of them has faced challenges they are only beginning to understand. They sense that this person has made mistakes, survived hardships, and learned lessons that cannot be found in books or social media. And that creates a natural attraction toward wisdom. Perhaps a young man sits next to you and asks about career decisions. He is confused about which direction to take in life. He listens carefully when you share your perspective, because he knows you have walked a long road. Or maybe someone younger talks to you about relationships. They are struggling with trust, heartbreak, or uncertainty. When you speak calmly about patience, understanding, and emotional maturity, they feel something powerful in your words. Not because your advice is loud, but because it carries the weight of experience. You are not speaking from theory. You are speaking from life. And younger people can feel that difference immediately. They sense the authenticity. They sense that you are not trying to impress them. You are simply sharing what you have learned. That authenticity creates trust. Another reason younger people respect intelligent older men is because they feel safe around them. You don't judge them harshly for their mistakes. You remember what it was like to be young. You understand confusion, ambition, insecurity, and the pressure of finding one's place in the world. So when someone younger speaks to you, they feel heard. They feel understood. They feel like they are speaking to someone who has seen life clearly and is not trying to control them, only guide them. And that kind of emotional safety is rare. Many younger people grow up surrounded by noise, advice from social media, opinions from strangers, pressure from society. But when they encounter someone calm, patient, and deeply thoughtful, it feels different. It feels real. That is why they come back. They ask more questions. They listen more closely, because wisdom has a certain energy to it. It is not loud. It is not dramatic, but it is deeply grounding. And intelligent older men carry that energy naturally, not because they try to appear wise, but because decades of life have quietly shaped their understanding of the world. So when younger people respect you without being asked, when they listen carefully to your words, when they seek your advice during difficult moments, it is often a sign of something powerful. You have reached a stage where your life experiences have transformed into wisdom. And wisdom has a presence that people can feel the moment they encounter it. 9. You are still curious about life. Perhaps the most powerful sign that you are an intelligent older man is something very simple, yet incredibly rare. You are still curious about life. As people grow older, something often happens to the mind. It slowly becomes rigid. Many people reach a point where they believe they have already seen enough. They stop asking questions. They stop exploring new ideas. They stop learning. Their opinions become fixed. Their routines become permanent. And, slowly, without realizing it, their mind begins to close. You can see this everywhere. Some people repeat the same beliefs they formed decades ago without ever questioning them. They dismiss new perspectives immediately. They resist change. They criticize anything unfamiliar. In their mind, the world stopped evolving long ago. But intelligent older men follow a very different path, even after decades of living. They remain students of life. They still ask questions. They still observe the world with curiosity. They still want to understand how things work and why people behave the way they do. This curiosity keeps their mind alive. Think about how powerful that is. Imagine a man who has lived through 50, 60, or even 70 years of experiences. He has seen entire generations grow up. He has witnessed massive changes in society, technology, and culture. And yet, Instead of becoming cynical or closed-minded, he continues to learn. He listens to new ideas. He reads books. He observes how younger generations think. He studies the world instead of rejecting it. That kind of mindset requires humility, because curiosity begins with a simple realization. No matter how much you know, there is always more to understand. Intelligent older men accept this truth. They understand that life is far too complex for anyone to fully master. So they remain open to learning, open to listening, open to seeing the world from different perspectives. This curiosity often appears in small, everyday moments. You might ask a younger person about new technology instead of dismissing it. You might explore a new subject simply because it fascinates you. You might read about psychology, philosophy, science, or human behavior not because you need to, but because your mind enjoys discovering new ideas. And every time you learn something new, your mind becomes sharper, more flexible, more alive, because curiosity is like exercise for the brain. The moment a person stops learning, their thinking begins to stiffen. Their imagination weakens. Their understanding of the world becomes outdated. But when curiosity remains alive, the mind continues to grow no matter how many years pass. In fact, some of the wisest thinkers in history remained curious until the very end of their lives. They kept asking questions. They kept exploring ideas. They kept expanding their understanding of the world. And this is what makes curiosity such a powerful sign of intelligence. Because intelligence is not simply about the knowledge you already possess. It is about the desire to keep discovering what you don't know yet. An intelligent older man understands that life is an endless classroom. Every conversation teaches something. Every mistake reveals something. Every new experience expands understanding. And the moment you lose curiosity, you stop growing. But when curiosity remains alive inside you, your mind stays youthful, alert, engaged with the world. So if you still feel that quiet excitement when you discover something new, if you still ask questions about life, if you still seek understanding instead of assuming you already know everything, then that curiosity reveals something powerful. Your mind has not grown old. It has grown wise. So if you recognize these signs in yourself, you may not just be an older man. You may be something much rarer. A man whose experiences have transformed into intelligence. A man who has learned to observe life instead of fighting it. A man who understands people, values peace, and continues to grow even as the years pass. And in a world full of noise, ego, and constant competition, that kind of wisdom is incredibly powerful. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel, because here we explore the psychology of life, wisdom, human nature, and the lessons most people only learn too late. And who knows, the next insight might change the way you see the world.